A good Monday morning to you, Central Georgia. Thanks for tuning in here at 10:30 for your weather impact extended forecast. Going to go over the same forecast we've been giving you all morning long, but a little more detail, kind of tell you why things are happening and which days to be on the lookout for maybe some rain and some storm potential. A little bit of a spoiler alert, it is quite a few days on your 7-day forecast that we are looking at having a rain chance once again, just like we had last week. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and kick it off with our quad view of all of our sky cams. I think I got them all angled in the right place right here. Actually, before we get there, let's go over your main headlines. So scattered rain chances will continuing for today, tomorrow, all the way into the end of the work week. So that's what you see as your second headline. That summer-like pattern, this early stretch of summertime weather does continue. But then once we get to Friday, finally some organization amongst this rain. We do have a driving force with a cold front, and not going to sit just to the north of us like the past few have done. This one actually going to make its way through central Georgia, and that could create some pretty splendid conditions for the second half of your weekend for Saturday and Sunday. So here's the quad view I was referring to. Plenty of clouds still in the picture, but a lot more sunshine peeking out from behind those clouds as opposed to what we saw this morning. Areas like Warner Robins maybe even saw a little bit of thin fog, and you can see some of that fog has probably continued to lift up into the atmosphere off in the distance. Taking a look at Cohen Walker Drive from CGTC. Right up here in the top left, taking a look at the Georgia National Fairgrounds, where it looks like the sunshine is continuing to shine pretty brightly. A lot of the cloud cover is a lot more broken than it once was. Actually, I had some decent rain showers up here in the downtown Macon corridor this morning. Even during one of the last cut-ins, we were hearing some pretty heavy rainfall on the roof of the station. It was very short-lived, however, but a pretty gloomy image still up here in Macon. And then taking it down to Dublin, an area where we actually did get to see the sunrise this morning, and they are continuing to have sunny skies as we approach the 11 a.m. hour for your Monday morning. So temperature-wise, not much change, maybe about 5 to 8 degrees or so of a temperature increase throughout this morning so far. We started out maybe as low as about 62 degrees. Most areas are hovering at 68, 69, or getting just around that 70-degree mark. Plenty of areas at 72 degrees like Wrightsville, Swainsboro, down to Vidalia and McRae. And then 73, the warmest temperature on the map, down in northern Houston County in Warner Robins. A little bit farther over to the west where we got a glimpse of that cloud cover facing west from our CGTC sky camera. 68 and 69 over in Butler. Roberta down to Montezuma, another 69, 68 in Upson County, and then a 69 down in Americus and Unadilla in Sumter and Dooley counties. So the entire eastern side of the United States is trending relatively warm, almost into the month of May now, so we're going to see a lot of these temperatures continue to be about the same, especially in areas where we've already seen the sun rise. 64 just to the north of us up in Lexington, 70 degrees in Nashville, already 79 degrees in Panama City, areas along the Gulf Coast, 78 in New Orleans, 78 in Houston, 77 down in Laredo, and then a pair of 78s in Jacksonville and Orlando. Florida always running a little bit warmer than the rest of us so far. And we see some areas with that green shade still holding on to the 60s as you go up to the north a little bit, but this isn't caused by anything in the form of cloud cover, in the form of rain. Those areas to the north just get a little bit more of that cooler air up from Canada and areas farther to the north. So hour by hour, what are we going to do temperature-wise? Going to hang around in the 70s for most of the early afternoon hours. And then as we head into evening commute time around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, 78 degrees is the highest our Meteogram does have us going. Once again, it's another day where how much cloud cover is in the picture, and if we're seeing any rain showers come to fruition, that's going to really make or break the high temperature that I do have forecasted for today. But I like to go on the upper end of it just in case we do see those breaks and those nice and sunny skies, as opposed to seeing any of the rain showers, because it's more likely than not that you're not going to see any rain as opposed to seeing some throughout today. So dew points, we have a little bit of color on this map, but continuing to see an easterly breeze coming over in from South Carolina. This is actually going to be a case of what we've been calling the wedge, and we've mentioned it a lot more frequently during the cooler months of the year because it really did usher in a lot colder air from the Appalachian Mountains. Well, it could contribute to some dry conditions over the next couple of days and maybe push a little bit of this slight humidity, this light green color, out of the picture over towards the west. But right now we do see dew points in the upper 50s over in our easternmost counties, 54 over in Swainsboro. But the farther west that you do travel, you can see some dew points somewhere above the 60-degree mark. All is good unless those dew points really get up close to the 70-degree mark, and that's when you really have to have, or really start to have, a muggy feel in the air. How about your winds and your wind gusts? You saw them moving at a good clip on that humidity map. But right now on the winds and wind gust map, you can see maybe even occasional gusts up to 25 miles per hour so far this morning. And that could be associated with some of the heavier rainfall showers that we saw up here in Macon. But nonetheless, winds are still moving at a pretty good clip, even sustained up to 10 to 15 miles per hour, like Cochran and Eastman seeing those winds. 10-mile-per-hour wind in Swainsboro, 15-mile-per-hour wind down in Vidalia, and even 16 miles per hour sustained with those occasional gusts, those occasional breezes that can get up a little bit higher than what the winds are consistently blowing at. So here's your satellite and radar picture. Going to actually spend a little bit of time on this because it has been fairly active throughout the morning hours. We did see a while ago there was a cluster of showers up around Monroe County, northern Bibb County, stretching into western Jones County. And it's kind of hung around this same vicinity, the southern half of Jones County, maybe northern Macon right here, just north of the downtown area. And it's kind of just been fluctuating on and off showers over this area where we do see some overcast skies that stretch down into Twiggs County, Wilkinson County, up into Baldwin County, and other areas to the north like Jasper and Putnam counties. We take it down I-16 now, where I did spot another little brief shower just to the north of Soperton. Looks like it started on the northern side of I-16 and has moved down towards the southern side of it, not maintaining much intensity whatsoever, but probably about a 5-minute period or so where you did actually see a good heavy shower, a steady rain in nature. Over towards the west, areas like Warner Robins, Perry, seeing some clearing in that cloud cover along with the southern portion of downtown Dublin. That's why we were getting a glimpse of some mostly clear skies over in those areas when we popped up the sky cams, but we do see that downtown Macon does have its fair share of cloud cover along with other areas down the I-75 corridor. We saw some fog in those areas, and that is probably continuing to lift up into the sky. But let's take a big picture view. What's going on in the entire state of Georgia? See a lot of active weather that has moved off the Atlantic coast of the state. This was actually the severe thunderstorms and the strong thunderstorms that popped up late last night. I think they've about started somewhere over in Crawford County, maybe into Macon County. They moved over into the northern portion of Houston County, not too far away from the Highway 96 corridor. We actually got a report of someone's roof that blew off somewhere on Highway 96, excuse me. So we're going down there to check out that and make sure that is a confirmed report. But that was even before it reached the severe threshold. And then it did continue to move down towards the southeast, somewhere in Bleckley County, Dodge County, Lawrence County, before it did sprout a severe thunderstorm warning. Had a little bit of hail also embedded within that. But those thunderstorms, they started out really small, really localized, and then they began to grow bigger and cluster together in light of the moisture content and some of the warm temperatures we got yesterday. And they continued to move out of central Georgia down into the southeast corner of the state, in between areas like Waycross and Savannah, and eventually have made their push off the Atlantic coast now. But we do still see our fair share of cloud cover, some scattered showers this Monday morning all across central Georgia, as opposed to the northern portion of the state where they have virtually been getting all the rain what seems like the last week or so, because a lot of boundaries have been pushing close to central Georgia but stalling just to the north of us, and that's what's created kind of continuous rain up in areas like the metro Atlanta area, Athens, the North Georgia mountains, getting up into the northern portions of I-75 and then the I-85 corridor. So surface map wise, what is the reasoning rather I should say, of all these areas down to the south seeing more rain currently than areas up to the north? Well, it's a pretty simple story and pretty similar to what we saw as of last week. Another stationary boundary exists, except this time it's below central Georgia as opposed to above central Georgia. So we are finding ourselves really close to this boundary where there is sufficient lift, and that's what's creating to kind of this scattered activity of rain as of recently. And you can see that most of the showers and the rain are still located mainly along the axis of where this boundary does exist. This is going to move out of the picture fairly soon, and you do see that this is attached to a low pressure center way up in the Dakotas, and then there is another trailing cold front out to the west. This is actually going to have lots of severe weather implications up in states like Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, states that you don't really hear having too much of a severe weather risk throughout today. But eventually this will push farther over towards the east, and it will kind of do the same thing that a lot of our boundaries have done recently. It's going to kind of stretch out, and it's going to stretch all the way up into areas of the northeast United States, not make its push into central Georgia. It's going to stall to our north, but there will be another system that generates later for the work week, and that one will hopefully drive more of a widespread rain chance, hopefully not of the severe criteria, and finally push through central Georgia instead of stalling to our north and just kind of giving us a continued early summer stretch like we've had in place for quite a while now. Yesterday's almanac, we climbed into the upper 80s, way too close for that 90-degree mark, and about 30 degrees warmer than what we started out the morning with. Both those numbers fall above our average high and lows for this time of year, 54 for your morning lows and 81 for your average high temperature. And then you see 96 is the record back in 1986. So I'm complaining, and I'm keeping hope that we will not hit that 90-degree mark until we officially start May on Thursday. But very thankfully, we were nowhere near this mark of 96 degrees, and thankfully nowhere near that record low back in 1972, 37 degrees. That day definitely had a chill in the air, certainly. But our year departure of rain, Middle Georgia Regional Airport has not been receiving many of these scattered rain showers that we've seen in nature. So giving you an idea of, number one, how hit or miss that they are, because Bibb County has seen its fair share of rain over the course of the last week or so. But Middle Georgia Regional Airport in South Bibb County has not really been measuring a whole lot of rain, and that has caused this number to continue to drop above 2 inches below average for this time of year in terms of where we should be rainfall wise. And then taking a look at your sunrise and sunset times, 6:51 right there was the sunrise yesterday morning. 8:14 is when the sun did finally set. You're probably noticing when you're kind of wrapping up your evening plans, heading home from dinner, it's still a bit sunny outside, and it's still even a bit light outside when you're trying to head to bed, if you're like myself, heading to bed before the 8 p.m. hour every single night. So today's almanac, no change on your average high and low temperatures. The record is a little bit lower than what we saw yesterday, 92 degrees for a record high, 40 degrees was the record low. We obviously didn't get anywhere near that 40-degree mark. However, our average highs, we're actually going to be pretty similar to that throughout today. My forecasted high is 81, and once again, it's on the upper end of this temperature side because we are looking at a lot of cloud cover to be present on and off. We're looking at the potential for some scattered showers and some scattered storms throughout the course of today. So if we are to continue to receive any of that, it's going to limit that temperature from warming up above the 80-degree mark. We may fall below average as opposed to well above average yesterday. Mostly dry day and maybe a storm or two, like I did mention, an easterly breeze. We'll see some occasional gusts up to 20 miles per hour throughout today, and already seeing them up to 25 miles per hour that we just got a glimpse of in downtown Macon. So once again, more than likely you're going to remain dry throughout today, but especially the farther south that you live. I think you have the features that are in the atmosphere still a little bit closer to that boundary that we were talking about. It is still a little bit humid, and it is still pretty warm. So the possibility of a storm or two may exist as we go throughout this afternoon. So let's play it out through future view. Let's go into that 3-4 o'clock window when we typically see this activity flare up. Not much in the way of rain here in central Georgia. It looks to be all along that boundary, down to the south of us along the Georgia-Florida state line. And let's continue to see if we do see anything pop up here. Haven't seen much actually have seen a good amount of consistency with the future view model runs as of this morning so far. But obviously you can take each model run with a grain of salt. We've seen the radar look completely different than what future view has said many days over the last week. So that's why I still believe that there is the possibility, especially our far southern counties, actually really just more so our far southern counties. You could see a shower or a storm throughout today, mainly going to be south of Macon, but not just limited to that. We could see maybe this boundary start to sag up a little bit, and that would create a lot of lift up in central Georgia, and that would cause activity to flare up like what you're seeing down to the south. But as we go throughout your Monday night, activity will fizzle out. We go into your Tuesday morning for yet another partly cloudy to mostly cloudy morning. Doesn't look like we have anything in the way of rain as of right now, but we'll continue to keep you updated on that throughout the morning show as you're heading out the door tomorrow. But then we go into your Tuesday afternoon. Plenty of those light green dots just popping up all over the place, looking like a green Dalmatian, if you will. Future view is kind of just popping up these very scattered sprinkle showers, nothing really impressive in the way of rain. And I do believe that the storm potential does go away a little bit for tomorrow. We're really just looking at things to be of the scattered shower variety for not only Tuesday, but also your Wednesday. There's also a couple of orange and yellow colors and some of these very isolated rain chances, but it's mainly over towards the west. That's what we see on Tuesday. That's what we see on Wednesday. And that's actually going to be in light of what I was referring to earlier, the wedge building in. So we're going to have a high pressure center that's currently over in Pennsylvania. I'll actually flash it back to the surface map real quick because I do want to talk about this since it is going to have implications for our forecast. This is going to continue to kind of slide down towards the southeast off the Chesapeake Bay area, the Atlantic coast of states like Virginia, maybe getting close to North Carolina. Well, obviously, it's still a good ways away from us, and it will continue to allow for some of that cooler and drier air to filter down from the Appalachian Mountains. That's why we call it the wedge. It kind of just wedges up against those mountains, and it continues to follow along where the mountains go into areas of northeast Georgia, South Carolina, and sometimes it can have implications in central Georgia. And we're not looking at a big downtick in terms of temperatures, in terms of that humidity, but we are looking at a little bit of relief. And any little bit of relief we can get in this very summer-like stretch is going to take one ingredient out of everything that you need to kind of make the cake with all of these scattered rain chances each and every afternoon. So we'll go back to future view. We'll play it all the way through Wednesday, and that's why you'll continue to see areas over to the west that still have a little bit of that humidity as opposed to over towards the east where some of that slightly drier air is building in. That's where your better rain chances are going to pop up throughout about 4, 5, 6 o'clock each and every afternoon. And then activity does begin to wane down as we go into the overnight hours, once again, into your Thursday and heading into the end of your work week. So let's go over to the dew points. I want to kind of just show you this with the humidity levels as we go throughout today. So as we get into the warmer portions of the day, we'll try to see maybe some of those winds come off the Atlantic coast, try to increase the humidity values just a little bit. But up in the northeast portion of the state and up in the South Carolina, North Carolina, you see areas of no color on the humidity maps, and that's going to indicate some slightly drier air, but not really enough to work with as we go over the course of the next few days. So we continue to go through Tuesday, not quite seeing any areas of that slightly drier air build in, and then all the way through your Wednesday, and still maybe some slots of seeing no color whatsoever here in central Georgia. If we get those dew points below the 60-degree mark, that's really what's going to play a factor in that. But you can see that the light color, the light green, still does exist over towards the west as you make your way over into Alabama, even Birmingham, dew point temperature of about 65 degrees. So that's definitely still going to be conducive enough for some scattered shower chances at the very least. But now let's go into your long range models and talk about that organized system I was referring to as we go into the tail end of your work week. We go all the way through your Thursday into Thursday afternoon. It actually looks like we may be mostly dry. We may even take a rain chance off once we get a view of future view this time tomorrow, and we can view the whole duration of Thursday on a bit of a better resolution than these long range models. These are really just to give us a rough idea of timing and organization with approaching systems, especially one that is actually going to have pretty good organization, a good amount of agreement amongst the GFS and the Euro that we will see some sort of a cold front drive through a lot of widespread rain chances in states over to the west. So this is Thursday night, or more so Thursday evening going into Thursday night. And even possibly the chance of some severe weather over in states like Alabama, could even be up in the northern portion of the state of Georgia. But then we go all the way into the overnight hours. This is early morning on Friday. This may be when the system is finally pushing through central Georgia, and we still could have some scattered chances of rain. But once again, during those overnight early morning hours, doesn't have as much to work with as it would have during the warmer portions of the afternoon. So if this is to take more of a timing into the morning hours on Friday, we'd probably just be looking more of the scattered shower variety, maybe not a continuous line of rain, not the best coverage, but still more organization than what we've just seen with these kind of heat of the day rain chances each and every day. But let's take it all the way through your Friday. And it looks like maybe it could try to stall just a little bit. There's not a lot of agreement amongst this, so I'm not, I guess, too much in the belief that it's actually going to happen. But we right now are looking at still moisture lingering not only in the state of Georgia, but really across the entire eastern, southeastern portion of the United States heading into your Friday nighttime and evening plans. And maybe a little bit could be hanging out for the morning hours on Saturday. But as you can see, a little bit of agreement that this will finally be moving off the Atlantic coast. So we don't necessarily know if this is going to be a fast moving system through here as of right now, or if this is really just going to kind of not necessarily stall and park itself, just a slow moving system that would create more of an all day rain affair on Friday. We'll continue to get that into view as we get closer and show you the short range models. But the consensus is it will move through. Some slightly drier air will usher in, and then we should have a mostly dry Saturday and Sunday for the second half of your weekend, which is going to be good news for all of you with any outdoor plans, I'm sure. And I think we start out the work week next week rather dry as well. It doesn't look like we have any big scale weather systems that will be impacting us down in our neck of the woods. So let's go over your afternoon highs and then break down your 7-day forecast piece by piece. Monday, Tuesday through Wednesday and Thursday, we do see a warming trend. Again, those rain chances are looking less and less impressive for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that we got a glimpse of on the long range models. So that's why I do believe we'll see a temperature increase with those afternoon highs back into the upper 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday, when we are looking to have a good amount of widespread rain, whether it's still scattered or if it's going to be a continuous line of rain that does move through. We'll keep our temperature down just a touch, but we'll have our occasional peaks of sunlight that will allow us to reach the mid 80s for high temperatures. Still hovering at average or above average each and every day this week. Morning lows somewhere in the low 60s, upper 50s, not much change. Still above average, has that pleasant feel in the air every morning that you do walk outside. But definitely does feel pretty humid as you walk outside in the morning hours because these temperatures are going to be pretty close to what the dew point temperatures are each and every morning. All right, so now let's go through your 7-day forecast piece by piece. Obviously didn't see much impressive or anything really impressive throughout the course of today on Future View. And I know I still have that thunderstorm icon up there. That's just really because Future View has not been very good at resolving these pop-up, these heat of the day rain chances. In case we do see the chance of any showers or some stronger weather in the form of thunderstorms, even severe thunderstorms. Number one, I have a lot of confidence that that's going to be the farther south that you live. And number two, it's to really cover the bases with that 20% chance. Once again, it's not going to be everyone that does see it, but if you don't see anything in the way of any stronger weather, I'm sure that's not going to be a complaint from many, given the hail that a lot of these severe thunderstorms have had embedded within them over the last week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I think we see anything in the way of rain chances, it is going to be of the scattered rain variety as opposed to storms. Again, that slightly drier air will start to push in from the east and the northeast, and that's going to keep many of these rain chances kind of located towards the west. But that's not set in stone as of right now. I obviously put the south for today because I have a lot of confidence that rain chances and thunderstorm chances are going to be farther to the south. Still kind of monitoring the next couple of days to see if that actually comes to fruition. We very well may not see that strong of a wedge push in, and our humidity levels could remain virtually the same. So it could just be a story of scattered showers no matter where you live in central Georgia. So continue to stay updated with those rain chances on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Kicking off the month of May, 88 degrees. So wouldn't it be funny if I continue to say, let's hold off the 90s until at least May. May 1st, Mother Nature pops up to 90. Hopefully that 88 does not get any higher on the temperature scale. But then Friday, you see the chance of rain is a lot greater than what well, I guess not really a lot greater, but greater than those 20% I continue to have each and every day. That's because I think we have organization with this. I think that we have a driving force with our rain chance on Friday. I still only have mostly cloudy skies and rain as of right now. We're not in any severe weather outlooks, but if we are to see maybe the sufficient ingredients come together, they are to throw us on maybe the day 4, day 5 outlook over the next couple of days, then obviously we would put this as a thunderstorm icon and we would continue to forecast it and see what that level is equivalent to let you know what we could be seeing maybe in terms of severe weather, or maybe it's just going to be your fair share of heavy and steady showers along with a couple of lower end thunderstorms. But it does stand that Friday is probably going to be a bit of a dreary day so far. The timing of that rain we're still trying to nail down as well. 85 for a high on Friday, so finally going back down after reaching the peak of the roller coaster right here on Thursday with a high temperature of 88. And then 83 and 82 for your Saturday and your Sunday. By the time we get into the weekend, the average high will probably be around 82 or 83 degrees. So right there around average, and it does look like it is going to trend mostly dry after this system on Friday does do a complete clean sweep through central Georgia and finally usher in some slightly drier air to give us a calm period of weather with none of these pesky rain chances crowding each and every day. So it's going to be a bit of the same story for the first half of your week. Getting into Friday, pretty dreary. All in all, it's a work week that you're definitely going to want to keep the rain gear and the umbrella on standby as we go through it and welcome in the month of May. And then, yes, the temperatures will continue to get warmer now, and we are going to see those dew point temperatures also get a little bit warmer. Start to talk about that air that you can wear as we approach the summertime season, which is not too far away, and we like to get an early start to it here in central Georgia. So that's kind of what's going to be in store for the near future, but we'll worry about that bridge once we get there. For now, just keep that rain gear on standby in case you come across a scattered shower or maybe even a thunderstorm or two. And then we'll continue to fine-tune the details with Friday's rain chance, given that it'd be the first time in a couple of weeks that we've actually seen an organized system make its way through central Georgia instead of just parking itself just to the north of us. But look forward to a beautiful Saturday and Sunday. That's where your 7-day forecast currently does stand. And again, continue to monitor this every single day. 10:30, I will be on here on 13 WMAZ Plus, giving you a detailed explanation of your forecast, what I'm seeing changing, kind of take you behind the scenes of what I do every single morning whenever I come together and I put this forecast together for you for each morning show. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 sharp.